Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 16th, 2024 at approximately 4:22 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my own day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the philosophies that I personally guide my life by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they have worked for me and literally thousands of other people who have put the tools to use. Now, before we get into today we're going to be looking at role-playing games, the imagination, their whole philosophy, or at least a philosophy from the way I see it, and their impact on day-to-day life, how we can put it all to use. Now, to start with, we have, and I cannot read that for the love nor money, we have Wu Train Rider is in with the gold. And just a very specific one to you, Wu Train, as I mentioned below there, we are active. We do have backup systems. We do have backup people working in the background now. So hopefully that will straighten things out. And we have Ferret in with the silver. Ferret, hope you're doing well. Glad you could make it. And Shadow and Sun, two major factors. One is welcome aboard. You are in with the bronze. And Steve Knox is in with honorable mention. And Storm and Shadow now is joining us. Now, let me see here. Let us get to that one there. We go down here and we go Shadow and Sun first of all. And Shadow and Sun is right there. And this is the link to Shadow and Sun's live feed. So absolutely, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Nathan, I see you have snuck in on us as well. Well, snuck might be the wrong way to put it. But this is the link to Storm and Shadow's live feed. So again, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel and then share the daylights out of it. And then we have Nathan with the Quantum Show. And Nathan, this is the link to Nathan's show. So there we have it. Now drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he's got to say, do give him a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. Now, to be clear, guys, I posted on the channel description now. I have posted a whole pile of things. Shadow, I do have to get a copy of it to you. I just don't know if I've got your email offhand. And right about now, trying to find it just isn't going to happen. But I will end up getting that to you. There's a couple other people that require it, but I have posted it right on the site as well. Because the reality is, if I continue leaving things go the way they are, I'm just simply going to have a fatal heart attack and I'm not likely to come back from it. So, done with that. Just making sure I didn't miss something here. Nathan's just saying, popping in from work, he's just busier than he was expecting. Now, I gotta ask Ferret, why the 6 digits? That's one of those little things I look at going, there's got to be a reason for it. Oh, shadow, I can absolutely do that. That one I can do without a problem. And oddly enough, that one I'm actually familiar with. So let us see. We pop that, that gets closed. Let's go to shadow, and all I gotta do is find it. What are you doing? Okay, where are we? There we are. Pop that in, and that way I can go like this. It's just taking a minute, but that's okay. I can work with it. There. And there you have it, Shadow. It is now in your hands via messenger. Now, I'm presuming that's going to come up as an interesting side. Now I gotta ask Ferret. I'm only gonna ask this once, right? Then I'm just going to eliminate the problem. But why would you why, pray tell, would you bother with that? What have we got here? I gotta ask Nathan, what does that have to do with putting the code in here? Yeah, I mean this is one of the reasons why why I looked very seriously at shutting the doors is because things like that concern me. You know, this idea of anyway, that threw me for a bit of a loop. Oh, some of these guys are. Tubby. Let me check something here. Where? Yeah, it's things like modern tech that really that do create a problem for me, but that's okay. Absolutely, Nathan. I'm fully willing to admit that my knowledge of technology in this world is, to say the least, limited. Okay, and after the fiasco that happened the other night, am I a little edgier? Certainly. To the point, I almost pulled the plug on the stream altogether. A number of people asked me not to, so I've done what I can with it. Oh, unfortunately, Ferret, somebody else got into the room and was into this stream and somehow was answering things in other people's names and timing people out. I appreciate that, Shadow. My stress level gets much higher, and we won't have a question. There won't be an issue of, last night, Ferret. We won't have I think it was last night, might have been the night before. But, we won't have a question and choice on it because the last thing I'm doing is having a heart attack for anybody. It's pretty bad when my eldest son actually came to me and literally asked me. He said, "I know you got a lot on the go, Dad, but please do me a favor and don't have a fatal heart attack before I graduate." No, that's what I'm trying to avoid there, Ferret. And this is why I put certain safeguards in place. That the reality of it is that I'm looking at an interesting situation. Oh, yeah. My son is actually, well, right now he's old enough to be. He's trying to figure that out. But he is 26. And he's quite well stable. He just doesn't want me passing away right now. Can't imagine why. Lord knows I tick off enough people. But the thing with gaming is this. When, people talk about the imagination being, okay, let's try that from the beginning. Kids, when they're tiny, are absolutely applauded for their wonderful imagination. But when they hit about 5 or 6 years old, parents start going, "Okay, Junior, that's a nice imagination. Now it's time to grow up and start paying attention to the real world." Little do people realize, it would seem, that the imagination is exactly what drives society and technology to its upper limits. Okay, we take a look at a very well-known man. I have no idea what his personality is like offhand, but he came up with a brilliant idea. Okay, he came up with an interesting idea. And that was, I'm going to build a computer because you require it. He imagined a world where, where people could get a hold of a computer for creative purposes and make it happen. Okay, with that in mind, okay, he put this computer together, imagined this world, and now he is a massive he is a massive industry. Now, I'm looking at people pointing fingers here. Understand, I've already called him back up, and they are looking into everybody that's involved in this thing, and rest assured, they are watching, and like Shadow said, he's keeping an eye on things as well. Shadow's already, what I've given the moderators a list of rules, and if you'd like to see the list, that's no big problem. Okay. That's no problem. At the bottom of the screen, in the video description, in the channel description rather, there is a list of the rules I've now put in place. And it really boils down to this. I'm not interested in the drama. I'm great with the cross chatter. You guys have been supporting each other for phenomenal amounts. I appreciate that, Wu Train. You know, the reality of it from my standpoint is this: couple of just right off the bat. And now understand, the imagination is it's a very useful and simultaneously very dangerous tool. I was told one day by a former girlfriend of mine, well, at the time she was my girlfriend, I don't use role playing just as an escape route. I use it to plan and to design and build my life. Okay. You know, that's just the reality of it. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I'm putting boundaries in place. I am linking I am now working directly to link the free newsletter I put out and this channel. Okay, there are topics in here that I just will not. You know, I do appreciate that, Ferret. You know, I just will not be putting up with a few things. Political lobbying being one of the big ones. Okay. Now everybody's entitled to their own view on politics. Absolutely, I've got my own. Okay. The other real big one. Somebody came in here the other day and literally said that the Bible was the only spiritual path that you can follow. That will get you summarily evicted like that, because I'm just not going to tolerate it. You know, how are we doing there, Chad? Glad you could join us. Where are we here? I require this. This is the link to Chad's podcast. And absolutely drop in, give him a listen. You know, do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it if you like it. Okay. LA Moon, how you doing? You know, the reality of it is our imagination drives us. Okay. Now let's face it. When we start looking at the imagination being beneficial and dangerous at the same time, I will see something that is a bit of a discrepancy. And I don't know how, because technology and I argue. Okay. And we really do. And it's a debate who wins. But because we argue about it, what ends up happening is I'll spot a small glitch and go, that's a major problem. And small glitches were corrected to start with. If I'd have done this literally 2 years ago, I may not be facing this situation. Fact of the matter is, I was literally on a live stream yesterday or the day before. Would have been Saturday, so that must be yesterday, or it must be 2 days ago. But I was on a live stream on Saturday, and one of the side effects of watching a political debate go on was I ended up getting off the stream and then tried having a minor heart attack. Thankfully, I managed to bypass it, but not going there again. Okay. And the same thing with religion. I mean, I've been very clear with people. Number one, I believe wholeheartedly in God. I believe wholeheartedly in Jesus Christ. Maybe more than many of you do. I don't care. In this chat room, it's real simple. I'm God. Thank you so much there, Chad. It's things like that that absolutely hidden. That's a whole different issue. I have no objection to somebody like that being just literally evicted. You know, this is what I'm asking you moderators to do, is exactly what you guys are up to. And I know I'm going to get flack from some people going, oh, the moderators are being too heavy-handed. Probably not, since my other option is kill the stream. So we get to pick on which one you think is heavier-handed. But the imagination is something, like, you take a look at it. Okay, I did get a letter. I got an email from somebody. You know, I got a letter from somebody asking me not to send the newsletter to their location anymore. Didn't give me an explanation why. I don't care the explanation why. It doesn't matter. I've already pulled them off the list. As a matter of fact, the neat little part there, I don't know if they're watching because they might be in the background. Where did it go? This would be the person's address. Like I said, I keep all my address and what have you on cardstock, but this one is now gone. And that was the shredder going off in the background. So the big, Chad, I don't know if I actually sent you the list that I need. The list of tools, of rules, that is. But when I take a look at the imagination, I do look at this world going, hey, we can have a better world here. We really can. Well, didn't complete the heart attack 2 days ago. So yeah, I'm doing fine there, Nick. And thanks so much for asking. So what I'm looking at right now, I do have a whole pile of things I'm working on. One of them regarding tonight. Okay, tonight being Tuesday. Yeah, tonight's Tuesday. So bearing in mind, so I got my days a little screwed up. But we're looking at gaming and how the imagination actually impacts the real life. Now, think of it this way. You look at the disaster behind me, okay? Now, that may not look bad. This, on the other hand, is. Okay? Needless to say, I got a whole pile of work. But what happened was I came across a document that a friend of mine, theoretically, came across a document in my old files. Happens to be a book, a life story written by my grandmother. So I took that into my printer, and like I told her, and she's already got it done, so it will be coming out in print, but it's not going to sale. Okay, I've got no interest in selling that one. But my printer calls me up and goes, do you have a picture that we can put on our front cover? So all the stuff behind me here is because I hoped that somewhere in all my boxes, I had an actual physical picture of my grandmother. As it turned out, I did. So they're popping that on the front page, on the front cover. Now, honestly, I imagine a world where people can get along. I've been here before. 50,000 years ago, the human race had, number one, we had over 10 billion people on the planet. Number two, we had no war, no jealousy, and no famine. Okay, among a number of other things. Sadly, we had also developed an interesting problem where we had no motivation. That created an interesting problem. But in a nutshell, 50,000 years ago, with that many people, they went and colonized Mobius, okay, which is a planet on the far side of the sun in the exact same orbit as Earth. Now, when that happened, they mobilized, and there's a whole lot that went on. And somebody asked me to talk about past lives being at some point. It was sent to me an email to talk about small versions of that. And we will be getting to that sort of thing. Okay. I'm picking which days I'm going to work with. Okay. But, from that end, I'm looking at the issue of this. Okay. I see a world where we can get along, where if people pull together, and I've seen some of you in here. Let's see if I've still got the list. Well, I know I've got the list. The question is, did I get it scrambled on myself? Is that the one? Nope, that's the list of rules. That's what I'm working with. Okay, clearly that didn't work well. That's the tools I got to work with. But when you take a look at your world, take a look at what you're not content with. Now, I decided to challenge myself. I've got, like, I play D&D on Thursday night and on Sunday day, right? But I built a backup character, and some of you are going to get a bang out of this. Okay, I decided I wanted a game that was a character that was challenging. So I built a character that is literally MPD, as in this particular character has multiple personality disorder. Because I'm a firm believer that even people with MPD can be very successful in this world if they learn how to work with themselves. Same as the rest of the people in this room. Okay, now this thing, there was a gentleman that was in here. I don't think you guys can see him. I'm not saying his name, but Chad Smith, one of our moderators, removed, hid one of the people. Okay, hid one of the people that came in here simply because their name was wrong, and they were hoping I was going to address them, or somebody else was. Now, to me, the choice of name that people make when it is deliberately vulgar or derogatory, and even if it's spelled funny and it's just going to sound that way, I've flat out asked the moderators to step in and evict them. Okay, I'm all for creative names, all for them. I'm laying odds, and this is not to pick on anybody in particular. Okay, it's just the most obvious one. But I look through the list here, and I'm laying odds that the ferret is not the ferret's real name. And no, I'm not asking for the ferret's real name. The ferret is no problem. Okay, it is a simple name, but there are many names. Where are we here? No, definitely not, Storm. Definitely not. Storm just goes, ferret, if it's offensive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not about to repeat it. That's why we removed him. And like I said, this isn't a question of hiding. Just for clarification, and this is to everybody, but obviously the moderators are the ones that can deal with it easiest. Okay, hiding them isn't the point. Evict them completely. They don't. Somebody with an IQ with a maturity level that low does not need to be here, because all they're going to do is create a problem. Now, right now, this character that I've got, I have not started him off. He does, because I've got to pick 3 names for him for obvious reasons. But the way I've designed the character is so that his primary character, his root, if you will, okay, is, and if you're a gamer, you'll understand these terms. If not, we'll do our best. Okay. The primary is a sorcerer thief. Okay. But very caught up in the idea of research. Absolutely a pacifist. He will fight if he has to, but he will try and talk his way out of whatever is going on. Okay. If he gets physically hit, or mentally, physically or with magic, doesn't matter. It will trigger him. Absolutely there, Shadow. Let's face it, food is kind of an important one. I swear to God, I'm a hobbit on occasion. Yeah. Absolutely, go enjoy it there, Shadow, and we'll see you when you get back. This primary character, his primary personality, is a sorcerer thief. Very much into the research, very much into the what can I do, how can I do it, until you hit him. Now, bear in mind, this character is half orc, half drow. Okay, and if he gets hit, he will go absolutely ballistic. Absolutely not, Wu Train. My dad always said, you never hit a lady, right? Although he did tell us, if a lady swings first, she's not a lady. If the woman hits first, she's not a lady. But my father was very, very focused on the idea you treat everybody decent. Now, bear in mind, my father, and yeah, he passed away 7 years ago now. But my father was one of these people, if he told you he could hit you 3 times before you hit the floor, he could. 5'7", 52-inch chest, 18-inch forearms, and a Golden Gloves boxer. You're not looking at a man that was slow, that was a slow mover. Yeah, absolutely. And you'll get a kick out of this part, Woo. With this character of mine, you hit him, this new one I'm going to bring in. You hit him, he will do everything he can to terminate you. He won't leave another character standing there. He will end up with them dead. Now, the primary character, that's his second personality. If he kills somebody, he goes into a depression for a day and becomes a full pacifistic druid. Pacifistic if you're beating on people. Pity help you if you're beating on the plants or the animals. That may result in a bad outcome. Whoops, don't need to do that. Okay. If, however, in the middle of things, he ends up killing an animal, he is going, assuming it is not killing it in self-defense or to protect another animal for that matter. If that is the case, he'll go into a depression for a week and only be a straight druid for a week. Now, I figure this is going to make it really challenging to run, which is why I did it. But this book here is science fantasy. This lead character here this is Jeremiah. Okay, I actually built him for Aftermath, but here's a neat kicker to it. Well, let me just get that back up there. Here's a neat kicker to it. He, quite frankly, like myself, except I'm very much a pacifist. I'm not even combat capable. But Jeremiah will talk his way out of anything unless you push him too far, at which point you're in trouble. Nice part is he's a medic as well. But the imagination is what drives much of this world. And this is why I have always told people, literally speaking, and this is the way I live my life, if your mind can get, well, more to the point, when your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, you can achieve it. Okay, there is very little on this planet that you cannot accomplish. Okay, there's a lot I wouldn't recommend, but I have seen so many things happen that I know full well that we can make this a better world. We just have to desire to do so and then put the work in. Now, I am really grateful to the bunch of you that have stepped forward. And fair, that's a great way to put it. If fair is just going, if you believe you deserve it, the universe will serve it. And ultimately, this is correct. The one thing that everybody's got to remember, myself included, is whether you believe you deserve it or not. If you believe you deserve to have food brought to your house, okay, you're going to have to open the door. Okay, you're going to have to do the work to get up and open the door to let them bring it in. Because I don't think you want them breaking in to give you food. Unless apparently on Christmas when, Santa breaks into like 5 billion houses in a night. Now there's a B&E specialist. But what you got to remember is whatever you're doing, okay, as long as you're doing it with the 3 karmic laws in mind, be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. And understand all 3 of these are as important as the next one. Very much like the 3 legs on a 3-legged stool. Okay. But design the life you desire to have. that you desire to have. And this is literally what I'm doing here. Okay, now, couple of things that somebody, and again, this boils down to taking the imagination, bringing it into the physical world and making it work. Okay, now, there were a couple of things just to give you an idea. So those of you listening, if you're one of the people that sent these, okay, somebody asked for us to look into, and we will be looking into this. Okay, races, different races that I already know are on their way into the area. Okay, that I've already got wind of. They're coming into the Sol system, this galaxy that we live in. Okay, we will be dealing with that. Now, that one as it stands, we will be looking at dealing with that this coming Friday. So we're looking at 3 days. Now, of course, I may run some of these at the same time. The same individual asked about the fleet inside the sun's photosphere. Well, they said the corona, and I may have said that. The reality is they're not right in the corona. They're in the next layer out inside the photosphere. But we will be dealing with that as well. Okay. Now, as far as past lives go, okay. Oh, that won't be Friday. That will be on Monday. My apologies. That will be on the day that we deal with with alien races and what have you, because aliens are going to the aliens, technologies, cultures, motivations. That's going to be dealt with on the Monday. Okay, now we may touch on it on other days, but on Friday, I'm going to start with the issue, as was requested by another person, to start looking into past life shorts. In other words, taking a look at some of my past lives, and there are some I will not touch, but some of the non-life changing, just how was day-to-day life. Okay, and I will deal with the first one of those on Friday. And we are talking this Friday. The reason I'm telling you this is because when I asked you guys for input into what you would like to see, I don't see the point in asking if I'm not going to act on it. Okay, that's just the way that works. So, and this was also to let you know, these came by email. Okay, email, I think one came by messenger, but the point being, there's a whole list of places under this video to tell how to get a hold of me. If you've got a thought, if you've got a topic that you would like to look at, absolutely drop me a line. I will get and do my best to get to it. Okay, depending on what it is. There are some topics I just won't deal with. But when we look at the imagination, now, can you picture? You look back at some of the previous live streams that we've done, and look at the chat rooms, and see how much, how many people were in there, really jumping up to support other people. Okay, to support other people in this chat room. Now, it was amazing. A couple of months back, somebody came in, a newcomer came into the stream and went, "What a bunch of trolls!" Bearing in mind that cross chatter in this live stream is encouraged. Okay, dissidents, not at all. Also not tolerated, by the way. But I didn't even get a chance to say anything to the guy. Half the room jumped on him, making him feel very much, apparently, like he wasn't welcome, and neither was his attitude. And this is exactly what I intend to land on with both feet at this point. My heart physically won't take it anymore. So I'm not. Okay. But with that in mind, much of the topics that are coming out in the newsletter, and there are topics I touch on the newsletter that I will not deal with here. Okay. Like I said, but that said, okay, picture, if you will, especially in a gaming term, picture a priest standing up on a soapbox going, listen to me. I'm going to tell you the world's ending and the sky is falling, etc., etc. We have some 5 billion people on the planet. Listening to people is standing up in front of crowds going, we're all going to die. I'm going to save you a whole lot of hassles. We're all going to die. Okay, some of us just do it more often. But I've had to step away from game mastering, but that has enabled me to focus much more directly on writing. I will keep doing this. I will keep doing the newsletter. Okay. That's just going to continue. Yeah, no doubt there, won't. No doubt at all. Okay, somewhere around here, and it's going into a poetic anthology. I wrote a poem called Humanity's Arrogance. I don't know offhand where it is, but it literally tells you that. This world was here a long time before man ever arrived. Long time. Okay, before any semblance of man arrived. So no, Earth does not require our help. Mankind is also not going to kill the planet. Okay, worst case scenario, mankind will make the planet completely uninhabitable for man. Sucks to be man at that point. So what we're looking at here is I'm in the middle. I've started another novel. I think I'm now actually up to like 33 books I'm writing at the same time. But what I did find out, and only just dawned on me after 6 months of writing articles into the newsletter. And yes, for those of you that are interested in back issues, I do have all the back issues, all the way from July of last year when I started. Okay, it's gone through some changes, but I was going through them the other day, and I'm looking at it going, I've got the makings. Some of the writing I'm doing here can easily be expanded to put into some of the books I've got on the market that I've already got on the go. Now, the reality of it is, one thing I do absolutely desire this stream to do for people, when you come on here, I absolutely desire you to come when you get done the stream, whether you're popping in now and listening to me directly or listening to the stream later. I still desire the same thing, for you to walk away from the stream feeling like you've made it, like you've actually got something to move forward with. Okay, I've got no interest in dwelling on what's wrong with the world. There's a lot, but staggeringly enough. Nick, absolutely. Now, I gotta ask you, let me see. Are you already on the subscription list? Just because it saves me a whole lot of looking around. But it should be right here. This is my one box. Okay. Nick, I'm betting that we've got a problem. Whoop. Yeah, I'm going to ask you a real simple question there, Nick. I'm not debating whether you should be, but you may have been one of the ones getting a hard copy. Oh yeah, but just being subscribed to the channel does not mean that you're getting the newsletter. And that was quite intentional. Let me see here. I'm looking for that. If you would be kind enough to drop me an email, this is the email address to drop it to. Okay, if you would be kind enough, where to go? There it is. To drop me an email at this location. Okay, I will get you onto the newsletter list right off the bat. And yes, I will absolutely get you the back copies. Okay, because the newest one, and the one for February, is coming out this week. Now let me pop that. Oh, okay, Chad. I may have your email, but again, if you're not getting the newsletter directly, that is by request only. Subscribing to the channel does not automatically get it. And the reason for that is because of the fact that way too many people go, oh, you said hello. Oh, I have a newsletter that's been coming out since July. Not well advertised, apparently, called Positive Perspectives. Okay. And I've been doing it, like I said, since July. Where are we here? Perfect. Yeah, that is, I only send it if people say, yes, please send me the newsletter or something to that effect. Okay. Just subscribing to the channel will absolutely let you know when I come on, but it won't do a thing for the newsletter subscription. And this is literally, I'm in the middle of checking out of getting a few things organized. Got to make a phone call this week to that end. Okay. But you can probably gauge, just exactly whether or not this is going to be full of doom and gloom. The reality is, and by the way, yes, I do take articles from other people, but bear in mind, this is a free newsletter. And I'm putting in a lot of different things. If you've got ideas of things you'd like to see, absolutely let me know. Send me a letter, like an email, letting me know. One of the big things that I desire to do with this is get people's creative thinking working. Take a look. So you look, instead of looking at it going, oh, the news is coming on, I wonder who shot who. The only people you're going to find shooting anybody in the newsletter are if I'm putting out an excerpt from a book, from a novel that I've written, that says so-and-so shot so-and-so in the novel. I do not cover the news as in who's dying, who's not. Okay. The reality is, it's like gaming. It's like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Very few people actually play evil characters. I tried that one day, had nightmares for 3 days. So I don't play evil characters. Okay. And in all fairness, I just cleared off my emails. So I know anything coming in, I'm on top of at this point. What do we got here? Absolutely, Steve. The nice part about it, in my eyes, is this. When I'm looking at gaming, I take a look at Dungeons and Dragons, Aftermath, Traveler. Some of you may have played Space Opera. I'm sure some of the older gamers here have played Space Opera. Okay, I played a lot of these games. And the neat part about it is when you look at these games, you go, this is what I desire to do. I'm telling you, you can take that same imagination, that same drive, okay, and you can make your life into whatever you desire within reason. Okay. The odds of you surviving jumping out of an airplane and flying across the sky without any aerial conveyance, not great. Great for the imagination. Okay. So, and yes, by the way, I have started working on a very short. I've got two books that'll be coming out in the near future. Okay, that I'm already working on. A coloring book tied to Races of the Worlds, and an interactive book, a self-driven one, circa 1970s, 1980s, where as you're reading it, you make decisions that will determine the outcome of your story. Okay. And I'm in the middle of writing them all right now. Well, not right this second because I'm here. But this is why I say I've got a little bit of a problem. My imagination doesn't slow down much. Apparently, neither does my heart. So I am doing what I can on that end. And like I said, I do take articles from other people. If you see something going on that's fun, or for those of you that are gamers, if you did something, even if you're not a gamer, if you did something that was positive, and you just want to let people know that there are nice people out there, these articles I do not edit them. Okay, I don't edit them at all. So if there's typos, if there's grammatical errors, if they show up that way, that's how they're going into the newsletter. Okay. I just do not edit them because if I edit them, it's no longer your work. Okay. Now, of course, if it's an article, if you're writing about real life where somebody has robbed somebody or so and so shot whoever, I'm not posting it. There's all kinds of newspapers and magazines out there to do that. Okay. I don't tolerate bullying in real life. I don't tolerate it here. And you'll find if you're reading the Yldrbac Chronicles, Jeremiah has a lot to say about bullies. And none of the things he says are very nice. Okay. But whatever your imagination is doing, if it is focusing on the positive side of things, and do I have it here? Well, I don't think I can, but give you an idea of the creative side that I work with on occasion. This is a full blanket, covers the entirety of the bed. That one's handmade by me. Okay, because again, I just take a look at things and go, I don't desire to look at a bleak world anymore. Okay, I hid from the world for 55 years, which is really kind of funny when you think I started gaming when I was 13. Okay, which means I've been gaming for 37 years. Okay, no, for 47 years. God, it really is getting to be a long time, isn't it? Harry, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So if I'm not going to tolerate bullying in the real world, if I'm not going to tolerate bullying in the real world, I'm not going to tolerate, I'm not going to tolerate it here. And before anybody asks, I have no idea. I'm not asking I'm not asking the moderators to justify what they're up to. I ask people to step in. I've asked the moderators to step in and make sure problem children, and in this case that means known problem children, are not a problem. Okay. And I gotta figure out how to sort that out. Okay. I gotta figure out just exactly. This will be an ongoing transition because I will tell you, my imagination. People say, well, if thinking about doing something is as bad as doing it. Well, picture this. I can picture grabbing a planet in my bare hands, crimping into it, and breaking it in half. Now, if I can imagine that, if that's as bad as doing it, as I've seen some people literally state. Yeah, I kind of figured. And that's why I say I don't need explanation. I appreciate it though, Chad. Because I know some people I don't know who the trolls are. I don't have that much experience with technology to even figure out how to get rid of them. My introduction to trolls, quite frankly, up until 2 years ago, and more accurately about a year ago, was a troll is about 9 feet tall and regenerates like a sub of an inch. Okay. And they're dangerous little critters. Mind you, we did find a use for those type of trolls. One character I had, well, actually, a character I was playing, another gamer that I was playing with, he came up with a brilliant idea. because we were already high level, we turned around and what we'd do is we'd find a troll and we would shrink him down from 9 feet tall to about 6 inches. Once we had him that small, we'd put him in a glass jar. Then we'd put the glass jar and we'd leave holes in the top of the glass jar so he could breathe. But we put one of these on each table in our restaurant dining room, in the tavern hall, so that you sat down and on the table beside you, you had a troll that would eat anything. So you drop your scraps into this jar. He'd get to eat, no problem, and away we'd go. We would do that, or a neo-ochug, or an otiug for that matter. But we had a creative way of making garbage disposal. Okay, it's the same way as I've seen, as some people I know have talked about problem children. And one guy I was talking to, he does not like bullies and problem children at all. Now, bear in mind, this was somebody that had, shall we say, a bit of a temper. Okay, and he said, "Look, there's a great use for bullies." I looked at him and I said, "Utilize a bully in an effective fashion." He says, "You can shingle with them. You just slice them real thin, dry them out, and you got nice waterproof shingles." I'm like, okay, that's just dark. Okay, but you got to understand, the gentleman that came up with this idea had a violent crime record that was just something bizarre. I got along with him fine. Don't ask how. I don't know how. I just didn't see a point of causing a problem. But this is why I say I don't have a problem with people's backgrounds. Okay, I do have a problem with people causing a problem. And this is why when Chad stepped up and went, "No, I already recognize him, he's gone." He's got that kind of a reputation. Okay, I don't have to see it enacted here. I really don't. See, I had a character, one of my most favorite characters. Iowax, how we doing? Glad you could join us. And World, I'm filming clips for a video about RPG terrain, dice, and ancient game systems. Oh, I remember chainmail. Really, yeah, chainmail is a very old system. In fact, I remember it. It was still, I think, and you probably remember this better than I would, there, World. I think, was chainmail not used? Yeah, we've got a lot of people in background now, Iowax. Okay, that are right on top of it. Yeah, we had a problem there, all right. But it does seem that we've gotten it on top. World, am I correct in my memory that chainmail, when D&D first came out, they were still using some of the rules off of chainmail to patch things together? Okay, that would be a yes. I mean, my memory of that, I still remember my first character ever was a dwarf, was a mountain dwarf by the name of Arneson Hardicane. Okay, I had never seen a game system, and the game master, some of the gamers got together, and because I was trying to figure out a name, and they turned around and went, "Well, here, we'll take these two names and make that." So that was my character's first name. Well, as it turned out, Arneson, bearing in mind he was already a character I knew, I actually put it in. What do we got? Oh, there we go. I haven't talked to. I don't know if I've talked to Big Willie. But yeah, the funny thing is, gaming. For those of you that don't think gaming is popular, I've seen gamers run. Probably. World goes, everyone cool plays D&D. the artisan was my first mountain dwarf, and he has actually got a spot in the Yldrbacian Chronicles. There we go. Yeah, Chad goes, I'm sure I'll end up playing at some point. I started with 1/10 scale RC trucks. Now I'm on to 1/24. Oh, you haven't got to the 1-to-1 RC trucks yet? You gotta get on that there, Chad. You know, the neat thing about it is when we look at what the imagination is capable of, okay, you'll notice, you can't see it there. I have to get out of the way. Okay, this picture way up on the back here. Okay, that is the first, if you will, portrait that was drawn of Jeremiah Wolfstron. Yeah, I mean, I do wish you the best luck with it, Iowax. I can honestly say the odds of mine playing online, not good. Okay, I have enough trouble keeping this running. But I know that's the way things have gone. I still play tabletop. Okay, and I've got, like, I sorted out my figures to count them out the other day. I've actually got 580 miniatures that I'm in the middle of painting. So it'll be a while before I buy any new ones. Primarily because, well, I need to get some of these racked off. Well, it can be, absolutely. But then again, if you think about it, like Iwalk's just saying, it's too expensive for me to ever touch. Yeah, ultimately that's the issue. And this is why I'm in the middle of writing, well, at the beginning of writing an interactive story. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, I believe, I might be off on the year. They used to have interactive, self-directed adventure books. So I'm in the middle of writing one. Actually, I'm in the middle of writing two, but that's another issue. Okay. And this kind of thing, it's this kind of creative side, especially bearing in mind this is Tuesday. Okay. And Tuesday is when we're going to be focusing on this sort of thing. But, I don't know if I can bring this down. Yep, I can. This neat little thing here, where is that? This one, my brother, my youngest son got me. If I can get it to work, that'd be nice. Oh, maybe I don't have it plugged in. That could be a problem. Let me see if that matters. There we go. Let's do that on... Oop. Okay, this was something my son got me. This was actually given to me for Christmas. Now, it doesn't show up very well, but it is changing colors. And, you can see it a little. But that sits up here because he got it for me for Christmas, so there it is. That's the idea, Nick. I used to have a lot of fun with them. Wonder if I've got one handy here. Is that it there? I don't think so. Nope, those aren't. Yeah, I can't find it right now. I'm not going to go hunting around. But it's one I am planning on putting together ASAP. Oh. Okay, and I definitely appreciate that, Nick. And this is one of the reasons this is one of the reasons why it gets jumped on. Yeah, that unfortunately I can't do it. Unfortunately, iWalks is going, dang, I'm back. I'm behind for 6 minutes. And that is, whoops. Let us see here. I'm just dropping a message to the background to get that dealt with. Oh, Nick, rest assured. Yes. I mean, is the apology accepted? Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, it's that kind of thing that I'm asking you people to give me a hand with and point out where the problem is. Because the fact of the matter is, that's the kind of behavior that we're doing our best to stay on top of. Yeah. I look at people that are doing that and going, okay, you really do have, and it's not an IQ level. Like I said, I'm building a character. I've built a character that literally has, like, he's got multiple personalities. One of the funnest characters I ever built. Yeah, World, you did. I mean, quite frankly, I'm kind of, I'm kind of happy you missed him in some ways. It'd be nice if I could miss him. But Christine, how you doing? I have a character. One of the funnest characters I ever played was a chap by the name of Thunderpaws. Now, in Aftermath, you gotta understand, the average human had a 10 strength. Had 10 and 10 on all their stats. Their maximum strength would be Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. Okay. A 40 intelligence would be like Stephen Hawking's. Okay. Now, this character, Thunderpaws, had a 60 strength and a 5 intelligence and wisdom. He was an absolute riot to play. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately, it's this kind of fiasco that caused me to seriously consider dropping the whole 9 yards. What I do with it? I got a minor annoyance here that's got nothing to do with you guys. But it does have a lot to do with me. Oh, well, I can't do much with it for the moment. In any event, no, that's being, no, I know you can't control that one, Chad, and I do appreciate that. We do have somebody on top of it. The unfortunate part is that when we're looking at the imagination, somebody that's got the imagination to become a hacker, to break into systems. Okay. Absolutely. They are brilliant. These people have a brain. Unfortunately, they are completely misguided in what they're up to. Okay, if you can take that kind of behavior and turn it into something positive, I'm much happier about it. Many of my best contacts have records that are as long as their arms, but they grew up, you know, and that's just the reality behind it. Oh, oh, perfect, Chad. I appreciate that. Absolutely, Chad. Though, like Chad's going, I have an idea for the next stream that should help fix the problem. I'll get with you later on, which is great. If it's got to do with tech, I will tell you, Chad, talking to Storm is far more effective. I definitely want to know about it. Do not get me wrong. But Tech and I have an understanding. That's a computer. I get upset with it, it dies. This is how my printer died. I got upset with it and it just decided it was going to fold on me. But no, I had a character in Aftermath, which is post-apocalyptic, who, well, number one, you got to remember, what have we got? Absolutely, Christine. Enjoy. Just remember, you're supposed to make enough for all of us, right? Oh, wait a minute. That's if you're bringing it. Thank you so much for dropping by. The one character I had, Thunderpaws, and you can actually read about hers in The Birth of the Wolf Pack and the other books in the Yldrbac Chronicles. But he was a child, but he was a mutant. His one hand, from one finger to the thumb, would have been about that big. This is why he was called Thunderpaws. 60 strength and a 5 intelligence and 5 wisdom. Strong as an ox, swift like a brick. But a lot of fun to run. Now, when we're looking at gaming, it really boils down to this. Why get into gaming at all? Well, it's very simple. It's a safe way to distract yourself from the stresses of the world. Okay? It is a way that you can release some tension without hurting anybody. Okay? I know when I was gaming with a larger group, you knew it was going to be a busy night. If 2 or 3 of the gamers, there were 8 of us at the table, I think, for the most part, and 2 or 3 come in and go, I got to kill something. I've been having a really bad day. I got to kill something. Gaming works beautifully for it. Okay. And no, in all fairness, I've been doing this now for 47 years. I have never crawled into a storm sewer and tried to figure out how to cast fireball. I mean, can you picture what would happen if somebody goes mumble, mumble, hocus pocus, and fires off a fireball in the sewer? It's kind of like lighting a match in a natural gas tank. Not necessarily a good idea. But it's things like this that fuel a lot of the work that I do. Okay. Yes, I do consult with people, as in I still do psychic readings. I'm still writing. It is the books I am looking to push. Oh, I have no doubt about that at all, Ellie. I can picture fights, coming out. I can picture things going like that in a real hurry. I know I had one character, little chap by the name of Stump. I'd had a bad day. Iwalks, I still work with a combination of 2 and 3.5. Okay. And then we add in different gaming systems while we're at it. The current game master is running a solo game for me on based on 2 and 3.5, but he modified the Shadowrun system so that he can use the same tools, the same idea, just using D&D stats. Because the reality is using your imagination is a fabulous way to go. Well, neat thing with AI. Okay, and I don't go into this very much, but again, AI does use the imagination. Absolutely, it does, and computer programming really does. But I want you to consider this. Okay, if anybody actually did, right now they call it AI, and they've done some staggering programming with it. But something you got to realize, you take a true AI, which means you take the emotions out of the equation and then let it loose to try and sort out problems on Earth. This is not going to end well. Okay, you want to see what AI does when it sorts out problems on Earth? Watch the X-Men. Okay, either read the comics or watch the movies. Okay, but that will show you what AI cut loose with no emotional overlay will do to this world. And I got, I'm looking at it going, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I'm not ready to die permanently yet. But I will tell you, will I ever rely on AI? Not in my world. Okay. I will utilize whatever I have to in the way of computers. Because essentially, if you think about it, these things have a version of an early version of AI. Okay. And do I talk computer programming? No. I barely understood basic programming, never mind the rest of it. Now, people programming, that I understand all too well. So I'm looking at your imagination going, okay, now, can you picture a world? Can you picture a world where you take your insights, your imagination, and turn it into something beneficial, something that helps other people, makes life a little, some of the technologies out there are phenomenal, not the least of which is these. Okay, you realize without these, I can't see the computer very well. I can see it better than I used to. But glasses are a technological advancement. So are the clothes you're wearing. Okay, these are all based on technological advancement that was brought about because somebody had the imagination to say, wouldn't it be nice if we could, if we could do this? The umbrella. It's pouring rain. Wouldn't it be nice if we had a cover for over our head with a handle? Pretty simple discovery. I mean, the wheel was another real big one. Okay. But it's things like that that bring the imagination to life. Okay. And it's things like that that will shape the world that we leave behind. Question is, are you going to take your imagination and utilize it to make other people miserable so that by comparison you can feel better about yourself? Or are you going to do it to help other people feel better? Oh, Nicholas, have a good one. Yeah, you do realize, Nick, you're going to have weather. You're going to have weather for the rest of your life. At least you better hope you do. But absolutely, thanks so much for dropping in. You know, the question we have to look at, take a look at what your imagination can see, can imagine, can really look forward to. Are you going to do something with it to help other people feel better about themselves or to feel worse about themselves so that in essence, by comparison, you can feel better about you? And I will tell you my personal opinion on people that are breaking into other people's systems, other people's homes, that any of this be any, it's the same thing. Also known as BS and E. Okay, I'm pretty certain what you figured out that you figured out what BS is. But it shows a very, intellect may well be advanced. I am not the brightest light bulb in the pack. Okay, but when I look at people that come into a site, into anybody's site, causing a problem, and when I say site, I mean into a computer, into a live stream, into a into an upload setup into somebody's physical business. Okay. Anybody that does that is breaking and entering, in my eyes. I've got no use for them. Well, I do, but let's just say it's not a polite one. So I look at it this way. If you've got that kind of a brain and you're doing that kind of thing, what you're losing, what you've lost, is your wisdom is completely collapsed or pretty close. And your maturity level is less than that of a newborn. Okay. You may have the brightest minds in the world, but if you're doing this kind of maneuver, when when I'm playing D&D, I've got a character that has certain rules. The world is built. Here's the laws you got to follow. And yes, my characters have a tendency of being a little twisted. And absolutely, in the gaming world, I quite often will run a thief, meaning from a character, as in from an imaginary character. Okay, I will absolutely rob these people blind. But at the same time, one of the best thieves I ever ran, he would even he would even steal from his own crew. But he would tell them he'll rob them blind if he gets the chance. But he'd take that money and he would turn around and make a massive donation to one of the local food banks and go, here, let's fund the food so you can keep these, so you can get these people fed. Absolutely, Chad. And Chad, thanks so much for dropping in. And I don't think I sent it to you. I will send you a copy of the rules and what have you. But thanks so much for knocking out the ones that you did. The best way that I know of knowing that, that moderators are doing what I require, what I desire, is I don't see the problem. I'll get a blurb on my screen that says, one of my moderators eliminated this problem. Okay. And, delete, they either evicted somebody, timed them out, deleted their comment, hit them. I don't care. Okay. Is there a curiosity factor for me? Absolutely. Where are we here? Iwalk goes, for example, if the story hangs at suspense, you can run the data vocally through an AI and can feed a list of possibilities just by voice-like conversation. Yeah, something about that, Iwalks. My other half is completely 100% blind. So technology like you're talking about there may well be a route to go. Well, it is a route to go. It's not what I call AI, but it's what they call AI. Okay. I figure we don't need artificial intelligence. We got a staggering amount of it amongst the human race. But no, something that will read the options is what the blind community needs. And for obvious reasons, bearing in mind, my other half is 100% blind, I kind of have a vested interest in having something that can do that. But I got to get the hard copy done first. And this is something I've literally got scheduled into my books, like into my schedule, to make sure I get some work done on it every day. Okay. Whoop. So we grab this. Nope, not that one. That one. And we go. See, here's the way my schedule backs up in one heck of a hurry. Now, I close this down at 6:30 Pacific. But I will be writing in 5 different books for the next 2.5 hours after that. Oh, yeah. Well, the neat part there, I walks, and I realize how valuable the internet is. I really do. I don't knock the internet. I don't deal with it well, but that's me. Okay. And and LA is going, I'm not 100%. I miss stuff. Absolutely. I don't think there's a soul alive that is 100%. Okay. And I am working on being better at it. Well, I will tell you this. The moment somebody says flawless or says I'm perfect at this, I got this down, I'll tell you there's a flaw. Okay. I have never run, maybe I missed something and maybe they are perfect. But I will tell you the odds are that it is not perfect because no two people have the same voice print. Now, do not get me wrong, computers are a fantastic tool. They really are. You know, but will never outstrip human creativity. You know, don't get me wrong. I've seen some AI robots that absolutely will outthink a human. Of course, in all fairness, I met some humans that couldn't and can't find their way off a wet blanket. And I don't mean ones that are clinically listed as mentally challenged. I mean ones that are told that, oh, you're absolutely bright. You know exactly what you're doing. And these people can't figure out how they can possibly get into a bind. But take a look at your imagination. Are you focusing on helping other people? Whether that means giving them something enjoyable to look at, as in, are you painting a picture that's really good that people can appreciate? Are you writing a song that is absolutely great? Well, that is, and I walk that is one of the biggest problems. Most people don't know they don't know the answer. This is why when people ask questions, I don't complain about it. There are questions people will ask me that I'll tell you flat out I'm not giving you an answer. But iWalks has pointed out something really intelligent, really bright here. How can you get an answer if you don't know the question to ask? Also, and yeah, and that's where it comes into play. Now, here's the thing. Where did it go? Right there. Now, I'm going to show you something here, guys. Everybody, I'm a firm believer the computer is a valuable asset. Don't get me wrong. But I will tell you, this, and you'll notice it's a book, is a better thesaurus, a more useful thesaurus than the internet has ever given me access to. Absolutely, LA. You know, this is a book it's literally called Roget's Thesaurus of Synonyms and Antonyms. Over 100,000 words. Okay. Now, that said, when was it done? This one was done. Well, this one was written in 1980. 40 years back, and the internet doesn't hold a candle to the information in this book as far as ease of access goes. Okay, you type in a word in, for instance, Microsoft Word. Okay, and you highlight the thing, and it'll give you 5 or 6 different ideas. This thing, I kid you not, one word. We got a list of words, and no, there's not much point there. But it's got all the words listed, or a bunch of them anyway, under different categories. So it'll tell you, here's the word. Oh, we missed the word. Can I say it again? It's called Roget's, spelled R-O. As a matter of fact, why don't I do it this way? This might be a little easier. Okay. It was done, and the subtitle to it is that I can do. I'm just holding up there for a minute. What's going to happen here is eventually the screen will catch up. You know, but because I can't see what's popping up there, that's why I'm still holding it. Or more to the point on mine, it doesn't show it yet. But this is the one I'm hoping you can read that. Okay, good. This book, like I've used the computer and write all the time on it, but this is the book I keep handy if I'm looking for another word. You know, I love them when the people that go, oh, you know, there's a post going around. If you can read this, then you know you're one of the few people that can read it, sort of thing, because the letters are all scrambled. Well, it only works if you know what the letters should look like. You can't read to start with, it ain't going to help. Now, it's just come up there, and that's good. Okay, I've got my screen that I'm talking on here, and another one so I can see what you guys see. But that particular book is the one I use. I've got, using that book, I've got 8 books in print. Okay, using that as the thesaurus for it. You know, this one again, the thing I like about physical books, aside from there's something about the feel of them, is that I get all the information right there. Okay. Now, when we're talking the imagination, okay, it's amazing how much is being taken out of the equation. Yes, Iwalks, that's exactly what it does. Like you look into it, and I look at the words here, just to give you an example, random as it were. Okay. I take a look at the word here. Where are we here? Let's take a look at golden. Just the word golden. Right off the bat, it does tell you to take a look at gold. Okay. But when you look at the word golden, it's got, if you're looking for age or prosperity, there's one page. Pleasure, and there's another page. You know, a golden apple, golden calf, wealth, idol, idolatry, dream, imagination, hope. These are all subwords used underneath the word golden to pick TH. That it doesn't have, but it does have a breakdown for the words then and that, which may give you an idea of just how useful this particular book is. Yeah, absolutely, I walked. I can tell you the one I'm using. Like I said, the one I'm using was written in 1980. But let's see if I can find something out here for you. It's literally called the 1980 edition. whole pile of extra information in that I'm not going to go into. But yeah, and again, it's blue, but absolutely will stand behind that particular book and go, yeah. Well, let's face it. When I got it, it was when I was in school. Okay, because I got this brand new. Yeah, I have no doubt about that. LA's going, the book is updated yearly like a dictionary. Good bet. I just don't see the point in replacing it all the time. Of course, half the time, in case you hadn't noticed, I end up swapping to Old English, which is a little outdated. I realize that. So, I mean, I remember talking to one guy, to a neighbor, right? Wow. Iowaks, there is never a viable reason to apologize for desiring to improve yourself. There really isn't, at least not my eyes. Okay. I'm glad you're asking questions like that. One of the big things for me is if people are gaining something out of the stream, then there's a reason to do it. If all they're doing is gaining a way to be, shall we say, childish and problematic, they can find another stream. I really don't have a problem with it. What am I looking at? I wonder. And I probably should have said this before. But if you're just joining us or if you haven't done so already, absolutely do give us if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of it if you would be kind enough to do so. I'm just going to refresh this and see how many people have ticked off tonight. No, actually, I haven't lost anybody tonight. That's amazing. But, I'm sitting right now. Yeah. Well, the funny part there, Iowaks, if you're using the computer to do research, the odds of finding a book this specific is likely to be problematic. And again, how do you ask a question if you don't know the question you want and that you're looking to ask? How you get that question if you don't know it exists? This is one of the biggest things that I look at. And yes, some of the things I am looking at adding, in here I've got it laid out. Like I said, let's pull that up so I can actually tell without problem. Go there and move that out of the way for a moment. Whoop. No, that was not the one I want. Oh, don't have that list. So what did I do with it? Oh well. But no, I will be doing a lot of work tonight. The reality of it from my standpoint is pretty simple. If people are getting some benefit out of this, out of my being here, and it's not causing me major problems, I got no problem with it. Okay. But this is why I tell people, I don't research. I live life and report on that, as it were. But with the game, with the creative side of it, with the imagination, okay, I've got books I'm working on because the information I have, it's gone when I die. Okay, And I know I'm sitting on a staggering amount of it. That may sound egocentric, but the reality of it is everybody has information that they're sitting on that if you die, it gets lost unless it's been handed on, which is why I'm doing what I can. It's also why when this stream is done, I will grab dinner. I'll grab supper. And then for the next 2.5 hours, I will be dedicating my time to writing. Okay. Because I've got 5 books, and that way I can get 5 books dealt with. Oh, by the way, where did it go? Not there. Oh, it's down there. One of my goals for this year was to finish the first volume of the Encyclopedia of Nature, volume 1 of the Nature Encyclopedia. It has been completed. I'm now starting on book 2. Okay, but the first of 12 goals that I laid out for myself for this year has been completed. And this is one of the things I was aiming at with people. Okay, is absolutely turn around, okay, and do your best to put a list together. I recommend 12 things. That said, pick one, get it done. Okay, it's these goals that I'm hoping to see people come up and complete. The ones they set for you, and the ones you set for yourself, not the ones that I set for you. Something just dawned on me. So, give me 10 seconds because I'm going to go do the one thing I'm clearly missing, which is my coffee. I'll be right back. And we are back. Like I said, not exactly addicted to the stuff, but I do like my coffee. Pretty much, Ellie. I mean, I haven't drank much today. As a matter of fact, I didn't. This is actually the first pot I've gotten into. Matter of fact, it's my first cup today. That's almost sacrilegious, but but now I've got, I'll be good. The thing is, coffee doesn't help other people. You may enjoy it first thing in the morning, okay, but it really doesn't. Oops. Terry, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Yeah, sorry about that. Coffee and coffee enjoyment. Well, you never, I've always been told don't drink alone. So, where it comes to coffee, I make an exception. I don't drink anyway as far as alcohol goes. Not anymore. Whole lot less than I used to. I'd be hard pressed to drink more than I did when I was a kid. It was a young adult. Considering I was killing a 26er a night and still holding down a full-time job. Which might give you an idea of a not quite so brightly spent youth. But when you're looking at the imagination, okay, of course, understand something very important. This is coffee, okay? In the Yldrbacian Chronicles, I didn't want to have just coffee. So everybody there drinks borsod's, okay? And what borsod's is boiled roots and seeds. It's a concoction. I've actually got a formula for it. I haven't tested it yet, but I did go into an herbalist to come up with a local concoction. So I've got one. I haven't tried it, but gives you the idea. And yes, we have one of the main characters in the Yldrbac Chronicles literally is addicted to coffee, to borsons. And the funny part about it, in my eyes, the gamer that built this particular character had a caffeine addiction that was insane. Okay, he would be drinking strong coffee literally back to back while he was popping chocolate covered coffee beans, and he couldn't figure out why he had the shakes. He told me he had the shakes. I asked him how much coffee he was going through. He goes, not much. Now, do understand, this guy drank coffee similar to what Starbucks now makes. Okay, threw in a whole pile. Oh yeah, he did that too. That's the silly part. I mean, we are talking to a guy that if his caffeine level was down, he was absolutely beside himself. This guy, to make matters worse, was a computer programmer to the point that he thought in computer. He didn't think in normal terms, but he was a hoot to game with. Myself, I don't even like grounds in my coffee. I don't like the chewy stuff at the bottom. Expert, I don't know, but he was definitely an addict. You never saw him go anywhere without his coffee. In my case, I can go for hours. That's the part about it. But when you look at when you're looking at building a character, the more complete the concept, the better off you are. Yeah. Terry goes, Keith is the main leader of the... I have no problem with it there, Ferret. I really don't. The fact is I don't travel very much. As a matter of fact, I travel very little. I am intending on being at the deal down in Nevada next year. Okay. But for those of you that are of that way or of that mindset, you ever get up to Kelowna, tracking me down isn't that hard. And will I get together for coffee with people? Absolutely. I've had people fly me to the other side of the country to visit, or to work for them, actually. So am I willing to meet people? Yeah. Am I reclusive? Oh, that is putting it mildly. This is more socializing than I've ever done in my life. Okay. Well, maybe there was a period of 2 years there where we were actually gaming 6 days a week, 4 to 6 hours a night. So, during those 2 periods, wasn't 6 days, it was usually 7 days. Honestly, Ferret, if we can, I don't have a problem with that one. You're going to love this one, though. If you take a look at now, let me ask you this, and I will wait for your response to come up. Do you understand even the principle of what we call the Big Bang Theory? Not the movie, not the show, but the scientific theory called that they refer to as the Big Bang. Do you have any inkling of what that is? And I don't mean any. Good. Okay, now that's great. Now, because of the way that I came to understand the world, okay, basically it was an explosion that essentially, according to modern theory, it essentially is where the universe began. That I came to understand as something called a flip, because of the way that it finally made sense to me, how it happens. Okay, now you're going to love the way that it happens, but the short answer to your question is I recall 1 billion flips back. Okay. And yes, I did say a billion with a B. Understand the way this happens. We're told that everything goes into a black hole, doesn't come out. A black hole is a breaking point, is a breakdown point. Stuff goes in, gets broken down into its component parts, and comes back out through another black hole. Yet it may not come out well through this side, but it comes through. Yeah, quite honestly, Ferret, I watched the whole 9 yards start. Okay, from my memories, and this is why I say, do I believe in God? Absolutely. Have I had conversations with him? You bet. Do I worship him? Not a prayer. Of course, I don't like it when people worship me. I don't mind people giving me money, don't get me wrong. But, I've been around for a very long time. This is why I say I don't talk about the different races based on what I've read in books. This is the people I've run into. And some of these people, I've actually run into people from past lives. And no, I do not reveal who I had a past life with. There are people that know me from lifetimes back. And if they open up, if they say they knew me from years back, that's their business. I was actually here before the Sumerians were. And I realize how absolutely bizarre that sounds, how far-fetched that is. And some genius out there is likely to do the same thing they did on spaced out radio. Well, where's your proof? I don't have any. Yes, I did. Actually, some of them were really nice. Like humans, they were human. But even back then, some of them were a little bit caught up in the whole, in the whole pageantry of it. But on the whole, they were really decent people. Depends on who you asked. Sumerians, the Akkadians, the way back when Aramaic was a normal language. Honestly, Ferret, to be honest, now depends on what you're referring to as a troll. Are you referring to? I went the route of big carnivorous, regenerating in a hurry, nasty thing. I'm presuming you're meaning were there Sumerian trolls, as in the type that are here? And the answer is to both questions, in all fairness, yes. Okay, but granted, the Sumerians didn't actually use computer systems. Okay, not the type that we use. But did they exist? There have always been dissidents as long as there's been civilization, as long as there's been even a clan leader. There's been somebody that's wanted to make things miserable, that had an ego problem or had this bit of an issue with being, what's the word I'm looking for? Narcissistic. They have existed for as long as absolutely open, honest people have existed. There are three types of people in the world. Those that are very focused on themselves. There's a tiny little batch of people that are focused on themselves, a tiny little batch of people that are focused on everybody else. And then the rest are operating a basic balance. And I mean, there's a couple of ways of looking at that. But yeah, this is why I say when I say society is going down the same path I've seen literally thousands of times. Okay, they're doing it all over again. And if you guys don't lead the way, okay, and this is what this was all about when I got started, was to help you guys go, okay, here's some things you got to watch for. Take this message out to the world again and point out to people, be nice to each other. That's all it requires. Okay, all it requires is do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, that's all it is. Unfortunately, so many of you use your imagination to find new and exciting ways to create a problem in your own life, never mind somebody else's. Okay, like the people that go along destroying artwork because they don't like it or they don't agree with the history it represents. You got to remember, history is written by the survivors, not the victors, but the survivors. Okay, usually that means the victors. But I find nobody is victorious in war. Yes, a war will stop. But from my understanding, if we just look at the states, 1776 until about 2005, which is when I got the information, United States have been at war somewhere in the world, and do not take my word for it. Okay, do your own research. But my understanding is that between 1776 and 2005, the United States was only at peace, or was only at peace 7 years. All the rest of the time they were involved in a war somewhere. Okay, now I'm not going to tell you which wars I agree with, which ones I don't. I can do that real easy. I don't agree with war, period. Now that we covered that discussion, war to me has never brought peace. Okay, and there is no such thing as a gentleman's war. A gentleman's war is a card game playing poker. Okay, or there was a neat game. I don't know if any of you guys, if you guys even play this. When I was growing up, we had a card game called War. Okay. It was absolutely one of these neat little things. What am I looking at here? Whoop. Yeah, right now, Ferret, we actually have, there's actually 9 people in here. The thing is, there was a game I used to play when I was a kid, right? And what it was a game of cards called War. I don't know if any of you ever even remember the game or if it was played anywhere but in our family. Okay, I could lay it out, but that was one game of War. It was a great time killer, absolutely useless, but nobody ended up bleeding. Well, no, that's not true. I remember one day we were playing War. As I said, it was a card game, and my brother took a brand new deck, and he accidentally ran it across his finger and ended up bleeding. Put a kink in the game for a bit, but War as a card game was great. War in movies, in books, in video games, no problem. War, where it comes to shooting each other in real life, waste of time, waste of energy. Okay, and basically accomplishes virtually nothing. Okay, that's in my opinion. But where it comes to the imagination, take whatever situation you're looking at. It's your imagination that is going to guide, that is going to turn the light on. Either yours or somebody you're talking to will come up with an imagined idea on how to make your life better, how to balance out something that's gone wrong. Okay. And it's not always as complicated as people make it out to be. Here's a neat idea. It's a new diet fad. Okay. It's not called take a pill. Okay. It's called it's the straight arm method. Okay. You take your arm, you stick your arm out full. This is a diet method that'll work like an absolute charm. Stick your arm out full. Okay. Never, ever, ever build that and bend that elbow. You keep the arm straight and you will lose weight. Of course, you'll probably starve to death, so I don't recommend it. But, you've got that method that you keep the arm straight, you never bend the elbow, and you will lose weight. There is the variant on that, which is the arm curl method. You reach out arm's length, you grab your drink, and you curl the elbow so you can upend the thing. That one will make you gain weight in a real hurry if you pick the right liquid. But where it comes to straightening your life out, it's your imagination that is going to light the way. Okay. How do you, virtually everybody I know of, enjoys movies of one form or another. Not always the same genre. Well, LA, that just goes to prove there are solutions to all problems. LA's just gone, I would probably end up burying my face in the plate. I gotta admit, that is a method I didn't bother looking at. But, like I said, every problem, no matter how big, there is a creative way around it. Okay. See, I was close to being committed once. I went in to visit a friend of a friend. I went in to go and visit a friend actually in the psych ward, and I got talking to one of his friends in there. I looked at her. I said, after I talked to her for a few minutes, I looked at her and I says, there's only one difference between you and I, aside from the fact you're a female. And she goes, I says, and I'm male. She goes, what's the difference? I looked right at the psychologist that was on site, and I in the room. I looked at her and I said, I knew the answers they wanted to hear. Now, the fact of the matter is, from everything I've come to understand, I'm about as sane as I'm going to get. Okay, because I don't question, am I losing my mind? I know full well I lost it a long time ago. I know that because I lost my marbles. And it was only just 2 weeks ago I found one of them. But, the reality is, when we take a look at the creative world, that is the backbone of role playing. Okay. Whether we are talking Dungeons and Dragons, Aftermath, Traveler, Warhammer, doesn't matter. You might even be talking about adult role playing. Okay. The point being, it still requires your imagination. But since we are on this planet together, I don't even see this as I do not recognize countries. Well, I do. I recognize them. I do not agree with the term. For instance, Canada is a first world country and Ethiopia is a third world country. Sorry, guys. One world, one type of country. It's just that simple. Now, I will tell you, I asked a buddy of mine one day, I asked him, why is it that every single game that I start lately, every single character I start lately, why am I always building a flaming empire in the gaming world? My buddy looks at me and he goes, drive. So I took that as going, okay, it makes sense. So let's take the gaming world where I'm building an empire in the gaming world, albeit by hook and by crook. But why not take that and follow the laws of this world? Okay, like I said, you must follow the laws of the land in which you are. But the principles of building an empire in the gaming world are the same as the principles of building an empire in this one. Which is why I have come up with a creative way to make certain that as I grow, as I become more prosperous, the people I'm associating with, the people that are helping me, supporting me, even buying, like whether it's a case of working with me or buying one of the books, getting consulting done with me, doesn't matter. all of these people, okay, are going to end up benefiting in, I've got a whole sliding scale worked out. And no, I'm not going to go into the details on that on here. Okay. But suffice it to say, for my advertising budget, it works like a charm. And, I'd run out of the books of Races of the World, of the first printing. And since the second isn't ready to go yet, the first printing got reprinted. So I now have them in stock again. Because I'd run out of them altogether for a little bit. And one thing that the one thing I will be doing here, the newsletter that's about to come out, is getting a price list put into the back of it as far as what is available. And it's just one of those things that from my standpoint, it boils down to taking the imagination. Ferret, I am going to be on, unless I run into a problem. I actually live stream from Friday through Wednesday. Okay, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. PST. I'm just writing that in here. Live streaming 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. PST. Where are we? Friday through Wednesday. That's when I stream. No, PST, Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, we're a little backwoods here on occasion, but, and then again, where is it? Where did I just see it? Not there. I'm actually looking for something here. I'm trying to remember where I put it, and I can't. Or more to the point, I don't. Oh, should be right there. Nope, that ain't it either. Okay, I'm going to quit looking for it. I was going to post the various topics. See, I personally used to like KFC, but, that didn't work out all that well anymore. Where am I looking? Posted it somewhere. Now I can't remember where the heck I posted it. Okay, we minimize those. Okay, well, that was a waste of time. So I've done enough of this poking around looking for something I can't find. Yeah, that's not a problem there, LA. I mean, let's face it, you're making the effort. Okay. And, the one drawback, well, yeah, the unfortunate part with that is Yeah, synonyms like grammar used to make. Yeah, pretty much. That is terrible, Storm. That really is. No, and some of you understand this. Okay. I used to have, like, I look at the world and go, I do not consider myself very bright at all. Some people seem to think so. What I do know is I do have a decent vocabulary, and that does create some problems. I remember getting bored in social class because I couldn't wrap my brain around the idea of drawing a line on a piece of paper and going, that's a border, you can't cross it. But I could certainly understand the idea of people speaking different languages. So in the middle of a socials class, I was teaching myself simply to count and a few key words in both Japanese and in Hausa. Hausa, by the way, was an absolutely useless endeavor in a lot of ways. Hausa is a northern Nigerian trade language. I was bored, so I figured, what the heck? Now I'm bored and looking, and I'm bored. I'm concurrently writing 33 books. Okay, but I'm bored. So 33 books plus a newsletter and the live stream. But I'm bored. So I'm going to go and look at going back to school. I haven't decided what I'm going to take yet. Okay, but I can guarantee it's not going to be taking a course to figure out how to go back to work for other people. But I figure I'll go back into school, and just because, well, why not? The one thing we must remember, and this is where the imagination is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, as the saying goes, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Okay, and if you don't use the thing, it will get weak. Yeah, not a prayer, Ellie. Okay, will I do my best to put as many people to work as I can? You bet your bottom dollar I will. But will I tolerate bullying and stupidity? Not a prayer. It just doesn't work well for me anymore. Oh, are we really that far? We really are. Well, this shows you what happens when I get babbling. Anyway, guys, I really do have to say thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. There's a lot of things you could be doing. Okay, but I absolutely appreciate the support and the showing up. Absolutely I do. With that in mind, moderators, thanks so much. You did a bang up job tonight. Really do appreciate it. And between your guys' help and the questions that came in from the chat room, the night for me has been almost stress-free. That said, absolutely have a great night. Take care until we meet again. Take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.